Long hauls need smart prep. Tap like, hit subscribe, and let's begin.
Question 1. A Massachusetts CDL holder may operate a Class B vehicle with a towed unit exceeding 10,000 pounds without a Class A license. True or false? False. Any combination with a towed unit over 10,000 pounds requires a Class A CDL in Massachusetts. Question 2. In Massachusetts, the Registry of Motor Vehicles (RMV) requires all CDL applicants to certify compliance with the state's medical qualification standards, even if they operate only intrastate. True or false? True. Massachusetts CDL applicants must meet RMV medical standards for intrastate or interstate driving and provide a valid medical examiner's certificate unless exempt. Question 3. The Massachusetts RMV issues a W restriction if the driver is not qualified to operate a CMV equipped with air brakes. True or false? True. The W restriction is applied for failing the air brake knowledge or skills test, limiting the driver to no air brake CMVs. Question 4. In Massachusetts, all ELDT requirements must be completed and recorded in the FMCSA Training Provider Registry before a driver can take a CDL skills test. True or false? True. Federal ELDT rules apply in Massachusetts, and proof of completion must be in the registry before scheduling the exam. Question 5. A Massachusetts CDL can be immediately disqualified for 180 days upon conviction for a first-time railroad highway grade crossing violation while operating a CMV. True or false? True. This meets federal minimums and is enforced in Massachusetts. Question 6. If a Massachusetts CDL holder refuses a chemical test for alcohol, the RMV will suspend their CDL for 1 year, regardless of the vehicle type driven at the time. True or false? True. Refusal triggers a 1-year disqualification for first offense, even in a personal vehicle. Question 7. Massachusetts allows a CDL permit holder to operate a CMV alone if they have passed the knowledge test. True or false? False. A CDL permit holder must be accompanied by a qualified CDL holder in the front seat at all times. Question 8. The RMV requires a full pre-trip inspection demonstration during the skills test, which must include checking the emergency equipment. True or false? True. Massachusetts examiners require the candidate to locate and describe emergency items such as fire extinguishers, spare fuses, and reflective triangles. Question 9. Air brake systems in Massachusetts CDL testing must include a low air pressure warning device check with activation no higher than 80 psi. True or false? False. The warning must activate no higher than 60 psi. Question 10. For Massachusetts skills testing, the air leakage rate for a single vehicle should not exceed 3 psi in 1 minute with brakes released. True or false? True. This follows FMCSA standards, which Massachusetts adopts. Question 11. Massachusetts CDL holders transporting hazardous materials must renew their hazmat endorsement every 2 years. True or false? False. The hazmat endorsement is valid for 5 years, subject to TSA background check renewal. Question 12. Combination vehicle drivers in Massachusetts are required to know the procedure for preventing trailer skid by properly adjusting the trailer brakes before entering a curve. True or false? True. Massachusetts training emphasizes adjusting braking force to load and conditions before curves. Question 13. The Massachusetts RMV requires all double and triple trailer drivers to hold a specific T endorsement. True or false? True. This endorsement is mandatory for legal operation of such vehicles. Question 14. Drivers of passenger vehicles designed to carry 15 or more passengers, including the driver, must have a P endorsement in Massachusetts. True or false? True. The RMV requires this endorsement for both interstate and intrastate routes. Question 15. In Massachusetts, a CMV driver can use a handheld mobile phone if the vehicle is stopped in traffic. True or false? False. Handheld phone use is prohibited unless safely parked off the roadway. Question 16. The Massachusetts CDL Manual states that spring brakes will automatically engage when air pressure drops between 20 to 45 psi. True or false? True. This is a safety feature mandated by FMCSA and enforced in Massachusetts. Question 17. Hydraulic brake systems on Massachusetts tested vehicles must be checked for leaks by applying firm pedal pressure and ensuring it does not move after initial application. True or false? True. This test ensures no hydraulic fluid loss. Question 18. Massachusetts CDL testing for combination vehicles requires demonstrating how to conduct a tug test after coupling to ensure the trailer is secure. True or false? True. The tug test is mandatory to verify the locking jaws have engaged. Question 19. A Massachusetts school bus driver is allowed to leave the bus running unattended as long as the brake is set. True or false? False. State law prohibits leaving a school bus unattended while running. Question 20. The S endorsement is required for all school bus drivers in Massachusetts, in addition to the P endorsement. True or false? True. Both endorsements are necessary to transport students. Question 21. Massachusetts regulations require a CDL holder transporting hazardous materials to carry shipping papers in a pouch on the driver's seat when not at the controls. True or false? True. This ensures papers are easily accessible in an emergency. Question 22. The Massachusetts CDL Manual allows placarded hazardous materials to be parked unattended on a public street. True or false? False. This is prohibited unless within sight of the driver or in a designated safe parking area. Question 23. When driving in Massachusetts, CMVs must use snow chains on all drive wheels during posted chain control conditions. True or false? True. Massachusetts law permits and sometimes mandates chains for safety during snow emergencies. Question 24. Massachusetts CDL skills tests may be conducted in any vehicle, even if it is not representative of the class license sought. True or false? False. Testing must be in a vehicle representative of the desired class to avoid restrictions. Question 25. In Massachusetts, a second conviction for operating a CMV with a BAC of .04 or higher results in lifetime CDL disqualification. True or false? True. This matches federal disqualification guidelines. Question 26. The Massachusetts CDL Manual states that the driver must test the tractor protection valve by reducing air pressure until it closes between 20 to 45 psi. True or false? True. This is a required air brake system check. Question 27. A Massachusetts CDL holder can obtain a waiver to operate a tank vehicle without an N endorsement if it's for agricultural purposes. True or false? False. No such waiver exists. The endorsement is always required. Question 28. The Massachusetts RMV requires that reflective triangles be placed 10, 100, and 200 feet from the disabled vehicle on the shoulder in most roadway conditions. True or false? False. Placement varies. On a two-lane road, triangles go 100 feet in front and behind. On divided highways, one is placed 10 feet and the others farther back. Question 29. Drivers must check that the fifth wheel locking lever is in the locked position during a Massachusetts pre-trip inspection. True or false? True. This confirms proper coupling. Question 30. Massachusetts CDL holders operating tank vehicles must know surge control techniques, including steady braking and gradual acceleration. True or false? True. These techniques are emphasized to prevent loss of control. Question 31. A driver in Massachusetts can legally transport hazardous materials without placards if the amount is under the threshold set by federal regulations. True or false? True. Placards are required only when quantities exceed federal limits. Question 32. The Massachusetts CDL Manual specifies that crossing railroad tracks in a CMV should always be done in a gear that requires shifting during the crossing. True or false? False. Drivers must select a gear that allows crossing without shifting. Question 33. When stopping at a railroad crossing in Massachusetts, CMVs transporting hazardous materials must stop within 15 to 50 feet of the tracks. True or false? True. This matches federal guidelines. Question 34. The Massachusetts CDL air brake test includes a check to ensure the compressor cuts out before air pressure reaches 150 psi. True or false? True. This confirms proper governor function. Question 35. Massachusetts CDL drivers must carry proof of insurance for any CMV, but proof is not required during skills testing. True or false? False. Proof of insurance is required for all RMV testing. Question 36. In Massachusetts, a CDL holder can receive a K restriction for certifying to drive only within the state. True or false? True. This intrastate restriction is applied to the license. Question 37. A Massachusetts driver with a CDL permit may take the skills test in another state and transfer results back to Massachusetts without retesting. True or false? False. Skills testing must be completed in the issuing state unless part of an FMCSA-approved agreement. Question 38. The Massachusetts CDL Manual advises drivers to test service brakes at low speed by firmly applying them to ensure the vehicle does not pull to one side. True or false? True. This is a standard check for brake performance. Question 39. Massachusetts requires that school bus drivers perform a post-trip inspection to ensure no students are left on board. True or false? True. This is a legal safety requirement. Question 40. A Massachusetts CDL holder can use a foreign driver's license to operate a CMV in the state without restriction. True or false? False. Only valid U.S. CDLs meeting federal standards are accepted for CMV operation. Question 41. The Massachusetts CDL Manual warns that parking brakes on a CMV with air brakes should be tested by applying the brake and attempting to gently pull against it. True or false? True. This ensures parking brake effectiveness. Question 42. Massachusetts CDL skills tests require drivers to identify the location of the battery box and ensure it is securely mounted. True or false? True. Battery inspection is part of the exterior check. Question 43. Massachusetts prohibits a CMV from being fueled with the engine running unless it is a bus with passengers on board. True or false? False. Engines must be shut off during fueling in all cases. Question 44. Drivers in Massachusetts must use low-beam headlights when driving through posted tunnel areas. True or false? True. This is a state traffic safety rule. Question 45. The Massachusetts CDL Manual specifies that a driver must complete a controlled braking test during the skills exam. True or false? False. Controlled braking is taught but not tested as a separate maneuver. Question 46. Massachusetts CDL holders transporting Division 1.1 explosives must have written route plans approved by the RMV. True or false? True. Route planning is mandatory for certain hazardous cargo. Question 47. A Massachusetts CMV driver can be disqualified for 60 days if they commit 2 serious traffic violations in a 3-year period. True or false? True. This matches federal and state penalty guidelines. Question 48. The Massachusetts CDL Manual specifies that alcohol may be transported in a CMV cab as long as it is sealed and labeled. True or false? False. Alcohol is prohibited in the cab unless it is cargo being transported under proper authority. Question 49. In Massachusetts, all CDL drivers must notify the RMV of an out-of-state traffic conviction within 30 days. True or false? True. This ensures driving records remain current. Question 50. Massachusetts allows drivers to block open truck doors with safety chains instead of fully closing them while moving. True or false? False. All doors must be fully closed and latched during vehicle operation.
Hope that helped. You're one step closer. The next video or the cheat sheet will take you the rest of the way.